So let's talk about the iPad Air 5, which is the iPad that Apple's going to release at their April event this year. And basically what we can expect from this iPad is an incremental upgrade. If you guys remember back in 2020, Apple released the brand new redesign of the iPad Air. And this was pretty much the biggest redesign the iPad Air had gotten since it was pretty much released from the get-go. And this was a watered down iPad Pro. Basically, imagine the smaller bezels of an iPad Pro. You had the Touch ID and the power button, 10.9-inch display, and the A15 Bionic chip in this iPad. It had a 12 megapixel camera, Apple Pencil 2 support, and it also supported the Apple keyboard, so you were able to dock it and use it as kind of a laptop replacement. So the iPad Air 4 was the mass consumer iPad. It wasn't as high-end as the iPad Pros, so you weren't going to do any graphically intensive work. The Pros aren't going to use it. And it wasn't the bare bones minimum basic iPad. It was kind of somewhere in the middle. You could do some light work if you needed to, some Excel spreadsheets, some email work. It wouldn't replace your laptop, but it was still pretty good. It's the best iPad, in my opinion. You get 85 to 90% of the features of the iPad Pro, but for much, much less. So when you think of the iPad Air line, is there anything that Apple could do to make this iPad even better? And for this year, it's going to be another incremental upgrade. It's not going to be a drastic redesign like we saw back in 2020. Obviously, we're going to get new silicon. It's going to be the A15 Bionic that we see in the iPhone 13 models. It's going to have better performance and it's going to last all day. So no matter what you throw at this new iPad Air, it's going to be able to handle it no problem. We're also expecting to see new cameras on this new iPad, one on the front and one on the back. People are FaceTiming more now than ever, conference calling, so the FaceTime camera is going to get an upgrade, and we're also going to see a LiDAR sensor and an extra camera sensor on the back side of this iPad Air to bring it up to speed with how we do things nowadays in 2022. A big focus on augmented reality, a big focus on VR. So expect this iPad to, number one, be capable of more graphically intensive programming. And number two, expect the cameras to be really, really good for the money. Of course, to bring it up to speed, we expect it to get 5G, and we're also getting 4 stereo speakers, so the content consumption on this iPad is going to be top notch. The only problem I see with this iPad, even though it's an incremental upgrade, just polishing some of the edges, updating the chip, better battery life, better cameras, it's not going to get an OLED screen. And for some people, that may be a deal breaker. For me, that absolutely is. I watch a lot of content. I consume a lot of YouTube videos. So for me, I need the best screen possible. Now, for the most people out there on the market, they probably won't even notice the difference. But somebody watching this video like you and me, you know the difference and you can definitely tell. But on this iPad, it's not going to get it. Because if they put OLED on this iPad, there's really not going to be that much incentive for people to go up to the iPad Pros. Yes, you're going to get 120 hertz. Yes, the bezel is going to be slightly smaller. Yes, you're going to get the M series chip, the in-house silicon. But in reality, when you look at the average person that's buying these iPads, they're not going to care. So you're not going to get OLED on this iPad. We're also not getting 120 hertz on this iPad. Like I said, if you want 120 hertz, if you want OLED, go for the Pros. This iPad is for the average consumer. In terms of storage, we're looking at 64 gigs and 256 gigs. They may have a 500 or 1 terabyte model. It's really up to them. Apple makes a lot of money on storage upgrades, so the 64 gig model is really not going to sell much. People use iCloud, people use other services. Apple's going to try to push people to that. So in terms of storage, pick the one that's best for you. If you're in the cloud, who cares which one you get? So in terms of what I want to see from this iPad, what I would really love to see from this iPad is, number one, best-in-class battery life, which is going to be hard to achieve with the A15 Bionic chip. It's not really optimized for the best battery life running iPad OS. And the second thing I would expect to see on this iPad, that I would like to see at least, is a better iPad experience. So when you look at iPad OS compared to iOS or Mac OS, it's really somewhere in the middle, and that's really what bogs it down. You should be able to run programs like Final Cut Pro. Any program I run on my Mac, I should be able to run it on an iPad. It's capable enough, but Apple will never do that. And that's what keeps people from actually switching from their Macs to their iPads. I would love to see it. I would love the option. Apple's not going to bring it, but that's something I would like to see. Let me know in the comments what you guys would like to see. Check out some of my older videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.